Hey, welcome to another episode of the InNOLEvation Mindset podcast powered by the Moran College of Entrepreneurship. I am Mark McNees, your host, and in studio today, we have the Moran College's student coordinator. She does all the programs and competitions and all sorts of things. So, hey, May, her name's May Wang. May, thanks for coming in today. And tell us just a little bit, a 30,000 foot view of kind of like what you do. What does a student program coordinator do at JMC?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Mark, and thank you for having me here. So my job involves, working with students, obviously, and it's a lot of co-curricular or extracurricular activities. I support students at the College of Entrepreneurship as well as other students in FSU who are entrepreneurial with their initiatives, with their ideas and their businesses. So that comes in all kinds of sizes and shapes. So we have a variety of opportunities for them, whether it's grant funding, it can be competitions that we run, it can be workshops, and we offer mentoring to them as well. I support students outside of the classroom and working in collaboration with the classes that they take.
Yeah, well, I know they all speak extremely high of you, and I've got to be in several meetings with you, and now we're both doing iGEM together, so I get to see you weekly. So I really appreciate you coming in. I think you're one of those people who are very, very visible, but maybe some people don't know exactly what you do. So we're gonna pull back the curtain of what you do today, and hopefully the students who are listening will maybe hear some new stuff and get involved, because I know you're doing a lot of great things. Let's start it out this way. Now, we just finished the InNOLEvation Challenge, which I consider the Super Bowl of entrepreneurship here
I love that.
at FSU. I've always looked at it that way. I love it, where we have the best entrepreneurs and innovators competing, all year, and then we have the culmination event that just ended. So we'll start with the biggest and the best right out of the gate, because we just did it. Tell us a little bit about that. How do students get involved? What's the process? And what is the finals like?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Mark, to your point, when I started this job, I couldn't really say my title outright. I was, having some, I wasn't really sure exactly what I was doing. I know I was, going to help student entrepreneurs, but, I love what I do. So I'm very excited. So to talk about InNOLEvation Challenge, it is our largest new venture business competition in Florida State University, and it spans over 2 semesters of time. We usually start in the fall, so this fall we'll start over again.
All right. And
students, actually, anyone with an idea within FSU, they can apply to this opportunity. And we have them go through different stages. Stage 1, anybody can enter. They can enter with an idea, or they can enter with something that's already cooking up.
Okay.
There are certain rules about, you cannot enter if you have already made over $100,000.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it will be a different kind of gorilla in the room, right?
Yeah.
But then we select people to move on to stage 2, where we give them tools such as LifePlan, where they can use that tool, and it's AI-driven too, to create a business plan and also financial projections. We pay for all those tools that they're going to use, and we want this to be a learning process for them as well.
Okay, great. And I believe you have workshops as well. What kind of workshops do you offer what would you call them? Competitors or candidates, or I don't know what you call them.
Yeah. We kind of call them participants.
Participants, okay.
So we used to offer workshops. We require participants to take those workshops in preparation for the InNOLEvation Challenge. We kind of changed the format a little bit because we found, number one, we do not want to require them. We do not want to limit them. We want them to learn what they feel like is important to them. And number two, we want this not to be just for InNOLEvation Challenge participants. There are people who are not competing,
really?
We feel like the workshops can be helpful for them as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't have any requirements anymore. It's an open door policy to everybody.
All right. Very cool. It's been a couple of years since I've been actively involved in the InNOLEvation Challenge, which the name of this podcast, you probably know, derived from the InNOLEvation Challenge, where the InNOLEvation mindset, Wendy Plant, who who is your predecessor, was kind enough to allow us to adopt that name. I used to be a judge at every final. In fact, this podcast exists because of the InNOLEvation Challenge.
Oh,
I don't
didn't
know.
know that.
Yeah. So I was a finalist judge, and I was sitting. So we used to, the winner would be invited to a dinner with all the donors and the judges. Do we still do that?
Yes, absolutely. So, after round 2, students get further selected to go to the final round where they will present on a live stage to a panel of judges, but also to a public audience as well.
Yeah.
So the finalists would also have a banquet where we celebrate them, and they also get to interact with the leadership of the college. They get to interact with the judges and get feedback from them. We have excellent food, excellent conversation. We had it this spring, which just concluded. It was really great. I do want to mention, like during this process of selections, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, which is that final stage, we do bring judges and reviewers from outside of the college.
Right.
I feel like students are surprised. They thought it's maybe Dr. McNees actually reviewing their application or judging them.
Well, it used to be that way.
Yeah. I have seen your photos actually judging in those competitions. So now because we want it to be everybody could participate, whether they have taken classes with us or not. Right. So now we start to bring outside reviewers. So I want students to know that be very complete with your application. Do not assume Dr. McNees, who was teaching your class, who understands and supports your business, is there reviewing it so that you could ignore information or leave out information. Please do not do that.
Yep, that was one of the changes, which I agree with because I can understand that it could look unfair, me working with students all year and then they're in the finals and I'm a judge. So I understand why I'm not a finalist judge anymore. I'm sad not to be a finalist judge anymore because I actually really love the InNOLEvation Challenge and I think it's one of the best things that we do at our college. But going back to my story, I was a finalist, and back then we only invited the winner of the InNOLEvation Challenge to dinner, and the donors and leadership would be there at dinner as well. And I was sitting across from one of our major donors, and he said, "Mark, this was just really incredible. I didn't know all this was going on." And he's like, it would be such a cool thing if there was kind of a way to tell the stories year round. And I listened to podcasts back then and now. And I went to Dean Fiorito and I said, "Dean Fiorito, what do you think about me starting a podcast on just telling the story of our students and FSU and what we're doing in innovation and what we're doing in entrepreneurship?" And true to her nature, her default mode is yes. So she's like, "Yes, do it." And that was 6 years ago. And we've been growing, as I was telling you before the podcast. We just surpassed 100,000 views on YouTube alone. We got hundreds of thousands of listens on all platforms. And it's grown quite a bit, and it's been fun, and done hundreds of interviews with FSU alumni and Seminole 100 and our students and engineering students and all sorts, and faculty and staff, and I think it's been a really great journey. But it started with an idea at the InNOLEvation Challenge, and we've just been running with it ever since.
Wow, that's phenomenal. It's great to hear that history and that part of this podcast and the connection it has with the InNOLEvation Challenge. That's spectacular. And I very much agree with you. Our students are doing amazing stuff, and being able to tell their stories and not just having them. It's great that they are on this final stage, but that's just 2 hours of the time out of 1 year, and to be able to have their stories and share them, that's just phenomenal. I was at the Impact Week, the entrepreneurship conference last year, and people were curious about what's going on inside Moran College. And I feel like the podcast just give people a sneak peek into what we are doing here, what's cooking up in here. I think that's phenomenal. Congratulations, Mark.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I feel it's a great honor to be able to sit in the host seat and have these conversations conversations. I love having these conversations, and it's good for the college. It shows, hey, we're active. We're doing a lot of cool things. It's really great for our students where they can showcase their businesses and get some promotion out of that. And it's really nice. We can invite back alumni and things like that are doing some really impactful things out there in the world. And it's a learning tool, and it's interesting. And now I have like publicists like contacting me, trying to get their clients on the show. And I'm like, well, when did they go to FSU? And they're like, they didn't. I'm like, well, they can't be on the show. And they're like, well, they're really somebody. You'd be lucky to have them on the show. And I'm like, this show's about FSU innovation and entrepreneurship. So unless they're an alumni, a donor, a mentor, a staff member, that's the prerequisite. This is the InNOLEvation podcast and mindset podcast, and that's what we're talking about. So tell me a little bit more about some of the other things. I know that even though the Innovation Challenge is a big deal for our college, you're doing stuff year round. Let's talk about some of the other opportunities that students have and alumni have, and just tell us more about what you do on a daily basis and the different opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I can give you some numbers actually of the work that we are doing here. So for the year 2024 to 2025, because we haven't quite finished this school year yet, I have some numbers for last school year. We have mentored over 300 students.
Wow.
And we had hosted more than 100 events, and we had over 2,000 participants in all that stuff we do. So we do a lot of stuff, and that list has been growing. We do competitions like we were just talking about, Innovation Challenge, our Super Bowl, but we do regional tournaments and, smaller things. We kind of have, for example, Ideathon is our idea competition. You can pitch anything, and it's very low stake. Anybody can just go there and pull something out. We want to get people excited about and get used to generating ideas and get used to talking to people about their ideas.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our entry point. Ideathon, I always love it. It's every other week, Friday, in the Innovation Hub. We offer pizza. It's low stake. People vote on it. You can vote for people. You can ask them questions. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know that we get out in the community as well. I believe you're responsible for having me at the library last night, speaking on pro formas. And if you don't know what a pro forma is, it's a forward-looking financial projection tool. So I got to talk about that, and that was fun with a bunch of folks. So you've already spoken, or you're going to speak at the library?
So I think I'm talking May the 4th. I'm going to talk about scaling and the development of the business and customer acquisition. But Mark, I think they chased after fame. It's not me who referred you.
Oh, I thought it was you.
No, I think the library came after you.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, better than the police. So, yeah, they were very nice and made me feel a much bigger deal than I am. They had like, welcome Dr. McNees all over the place. I'm like, call me Mark. Like, I'm just a guy, there. But everybody was so attentive, and the participants were absolutely amazing. It was a really neat thing that they did. And, they're helping these entrepreneurs go through and like really think through their business. And I floated an idea. I said, I'll come back and do validation night, because that's one of my hot spots is validate your business. So I said, I want to come back and talk about validation. I got stuck with teaching a pro forma, which is great. What I actually opened up saying was like, numbers can be boring until you can't pay your bills, then it's not boring. And it's like, you like boring. So you want to be able to pay your bills. So you got to pay attention. But they were all very, very attentive, and it was a very good experience. So again, I thought I thought I had you to thank for that, but
I think the library was kind of just plugging our people.
okay.
They tapped into Trip, who is our executive in residence.
Yeah.
So Trip actually opened it up for them.
Right.
And I think then I heard you are helping them conducting a session. I'm helping them. I think they probably tapped into some of our other people.
Yeah, I know that they pulled from a lot of different areas, but I know that you and Trip and then me, I'm not sure if any other JMC folk are going to be there or not. They have chamber people coming in and things like that. So they're getting a pretty good gamut of the kind of the entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem here in Tallahassee, which is really cool and healthy and good. And I'm glad that the library is doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, so Debbie, from the library, when she initially had this idea, I was thinking we already are doing so many things. We have the college, and there's Stormy Station in the community. There's SBDC. So I was initially hesitant. I'm not sure, like the library population or target population is interested in starting a business or interested in business at all. But what I heard is they had to move from a smaller room to a bigger room because people are interested in learning more about business or a side hustle from the community. So I'm excited, happily surprised about that kind of excitement about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I would say naively, I thought the same thing. I'm like, I'm going to go to the library and talk about entrepreneurship, but the room, there was standing room only. It was jam packed and everybody was super engaged. And I mean, I had a great time. I met a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs here in the community that I wouldn't have met otherwise, and it was a very good experience. So you're going to have a very good experience when you go to the library and do that.
I'll make sure I get prepared.
Yeah, I was shocked how many people were there. I wasn't really sure what I was walking into. They did let me know that a lot more showed up than they expected, which just shows, there's a hunger out there and very diverse crowd. But they all had, they all have dreams of starting their own business and great questions. And it was a unexpectedly really nice professional event that it definitely exceeded my expectations. And to the point where I was like, hey, I'd love to come back. I thought it was really good. As far as like other student opportunities, I am going to want to get to iGEM, but I want to get to that a little bit later. So if we can hold off on getting to iGEM, what are some of the other opportunities that you wish students knew about, would take advantage of, things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like because we do so many things and students are busy, they have their own priorities. They have school, they may have work, and now they are working on their business. So that's already, 24/7. And then for them to come to our competitions or come to mentoring or go to the workshops, it's a lot. So I think I always recommend students to go on to StartupTree. I call this the LinkedIn for entrepreneurship.
Okay.
That's a place where you can find other founders, really people in the community of entrepreneurship. We have over 1,000 people on StartupTree already. And we really post all of our opportunities on there, whether it is to table in the expo, it is to be able to connect with a mentor or sign up to apply for grants. Maybe compete in the innovation challenge. So there's a lot of actions going on in StartupTree, and I would encourage students to be on StartupTree. It's a free service to everyone. We do pay for it. The college pays for it, but they can, sign up using their FSU credential because we already covered that service for them.
Okay.
That's a great resource for them, and they can see what's going on. And I would also encourage them to have a little bit of patience going through different things. I sometimes jokingly say like the startup tree has grown into a startup forest.
Okay.
Just because there are just so many things happening. We open it up for students to post their events as well.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So if a student organization is having an event, competition, gathering, networking, we allow them to post those events.
Okay.
As a result of that, our events have grown exponentially. We allow Domi Station, external partners.
Yep.
For example, SBDC, they're holding a workshop on small business development. We would allow them to post things on there.
Okay.
So that students see what's happening in the community and they can tap into that. For example, Impact Week, that's happening in the community. So we let them post their events. It's not just FSU events. It can be community events as well. So I do ask students to be patient and check onto StartupTree frequently so that they don't miss out on things.
Okay. Yeah, great. So those of you who don't know, Domi Station is a incubator here in town, and Impact Week. Is Rich and Chad still heading that up?
So Rich has moved into a new role with Florida Commerce.
Okay.
So he's still on the board, but he's not as involved in the operations day-to-day. I think they are going to nominate a new person to run the Impact Week. But I think it's continuing to create great impact and connect the community together for that conference.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, Impact Week is always a lot of fun. So forgive me. So when I started with the Jim Moran School, we weren't even a college yet. There was 6 of us, including Susan and Kirsten. And so we basically, it was pretty easy. Now we have, I believe, over 40 faculty members and more staff members than I know, doing all sorts of different things. Does the microgrant fall under your purview?
Absolutely. So I started running the microgrant, but now we had more other people supporting it, but I was always kept in the loop. I would say now it's more of a team effort.
Okay.
So the microgrant is structured in a way that we give out funding to support student enterprises and business ideas. Last year, I think we gave out over $50,000 in microgrants. It's getting more competitive because more people are competing to wanting to get that grant. The level of sophistication has increased. As a result, more of my focus on, instead of running or administering the grant day to day or dispersing funding as I used to do, more of my focus now is to mentor students and actually get them ready and get them more competitive in applying for the grant process. So I think student interface now is with Holly. And they hear from her, and she disperse funding and work with them closely. But she always point them to me when she felt like they could be better prepared or be more strategic in this application. The grant can be a different type of animal. It's different from competitions, different from other things. There are certain things that grant looks for. Validation is a very important thing, but also other small details. For example, try to not have typos in there. Try to have your branding in there and try to stay within the page limit are just very small things. But when there are 30 applications per month and only 5 are selected, small things actually comes into play as well. So because I have sit on those meetings, those grant meetings, I know the committee, I'm very happy that I can be the advocate for the students and help them get ready, help them be the best they can so they have the best chances of getting the grant. Yeah, absolutely. I think the microgrant is another just amazing thing that we do here at the Jim Moran College, up to $5,000. Is that still right? Yes.
Up to $5,000 worth of funding to get their business up and going and moving. And it's been tremendously helpful with a lot of the student groups that I've worked with, and incredibly generous, I think, and one of the really cool things that we do here at the Jim Moran College. So what are some of the other maybe lesser known programs that you offer that students should know about and I should know about? Absolutely. I love the grant funding. I feel like as early stage founders, the funding can really play a very important role, especially like the free funding. I mean, $5,000, may not be a lot, but it really moves the needle in many of their journeys. Yeah, absolutely. Now they can validate things. They can purchase machines that they need. They can test ideas out. I've seen a lot of stories, student testimonies saying how that really helped them grow and helped them have some great breakthroughs as well. And in my role, I really always try to help students find some free money. Maybe that's prize money. Maybe that's grant funding. We do run some competitions in here, and many of those have prize money. For example, we just concluded our Shark Tank a few weeks ago. That there's $1,000 in that Shark Tank. Yeah. So I don't think everybody knows that there's that competition. And we have other competitions. Maybe we work with CARE. So we have a CARE Shark Tank as well. And any students can participate, and they have a special challenge to come up with a solution to help first generation college students. Okay. And they get awarded up to $800 for that competition. And I keep hearing all kinds of external competitions
For example, the Rice Business Plan competition,
Right.
there's $100,000 of prize money involved.
Is that TCU?
No, that
That's
one
the
is
value
Rice.
and venture.
Yeah, Value and Venture is another great one with TCU.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's $100,000 as well that they can win.
Yeah.
And I believe we like students. I think we've sent students every single year for the past maybe 4 or 5 years to that.
I think
We haven't won the $100,000 yet, though.
Okay. I think we did pretty well. I think we placed a few times.
Yes, we've done pretty good.
Yeah, I just returned from Minneapolis with the eFest. It's an undergraduate entrepreneurship competition with a total prize of $250,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of money out there. And I do notice that students, many of the entrepreneurs have taken the initiative to try to get as much of those prize money, it's free money, as possible to try to fuel their enterprise as further along as they could. So there are those opportunities. And I try to promote those either via StartupTree, announcements. So people will receive emails if they are, if they sign up to StartupTree and create their profile. If there are announcements, they will receive those via their email.
Okay.
Another thing that I do is for any students who have had a mentoring session with me, I add them to an email list of mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not know how I started doing that. Maybe the very first day I was here, it's just kind of business development instinct that I had. I started adding people to my email list. And now I have over 130 students on my email list.
Okay.
Yes. So I send out announcements for those competition opportunities, or if we're looking for somebody to table at the expo, or we have an extra table at the Market Wednesday, which we do pay for Market Wednesday as well. It's a free resource. We pay for a few tables every week. So if students want to go ahead and sell things, but they weren't too sure yet, they don't want to make that $40 investment themselves, we do have that table for them that they're allowed to use.
So are they sitting at like a JMC table and it's first come, first serve, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is first come, first serve. We just have 2 tables, and we reserve that. We pay for that, and we secure that for the whole year. Students who are interested for those tables, they should either go to StartupTree or they can email my colleague, Will Joyner. His email is wjoyner@jmc.fsu.edu.
And we'll put that in the show notes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that would be
your
great.
contact as well.
Okay, yes, perfect. Yeah, they can reserve a table with him. And Will is an important person to know because he runs a few other things for us. One is Mentor Night.
Okay.
Mentor Night is a monthly event where students in the community get together.
Yeah.
It is networking, but also the students get to present their business there as well.
Okay.
So that's another free marketing opportunity for the students.
Yeah, the mentor night is really great. I've been able to meet several of the mentors, and they take it really seriously and come in and give a lot of valuable information and different perspectives to the students. I think it's yet another amazing thing that's happening outside of the classroom, right? That all this stuff is happening adjacent to what they're learning in class and things like that. It's kind of the living lab that they're out there doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love Mentor Night myself. It's once a month, and it's such a great networking opportunity. Everybody learns so much from each other. And I think I would say one thing with the Mentor Night, one of the problem or issue that they have is they never get to close on time because people just love and enjoy networking. Sometimes I know my colleagues had to drive people out because it's like, the event closed at 8:00. People don't want to leave until 9:00. It's such a great community that we have in here. Like you said, the mentors, they may own businesses themselves. They may be corporate executives. They may be just working in positions to support entrepreneurs. For example, the DOMI station, maybe it's the SBDC, the Small Business Development Council. So they all come in to want to support entrepreneurs, and the students they want to help each other too, to share their journey. So they end up not wanting to leave that event. But I do want to encourage students who are running a business or thinking about running a business to get in touch with Will, get in touch with me if they want to present. Or maybe just show up and, network and get to know, get into the system, the ecosystem and get to know people there.
Yeah. No, FSU, JMC, obviously the College of Entrepreneurship, is very entrepreneurial and has a lot of events, but it's even, the larger organization, FSU, I just found out. I didn't know this, but the Office of Commercialization, they'll front you up to $100,000 to help you secure your IP, your intellectual property, and things like that, and they'll help it connect you with investors, and it really is such a great hub for anybody who's an innovator or an entrepreneur and wants to bring something to market. There's so much support here, and I'm just blown away by how much like money investment, students can get, which is, the fuel for that moves the car, right? And so that's really, really incredible. So you met, we talked about Market Wednesday. Let's talk a little bit about the expo, which is another super cool thing that we do once a semester, I believe, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Entrepreneurship Expo.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have this expo, or it's almost like I feel like it's like a fair where students can table on Landis, the premium location on campus, to sell their products or services.
Right.
And we do that once a semester, and they are a little bit different each semester. In the spring, we are open to all students. So anyone can sign up for a table to sell their products or services. And the fall is
university-wide.
University-wide,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
sorry, yes, just FSU students.
Okay.
And then in the fall, it's only Moran College students.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so in the fall, I think there's a reason for that. We do have classes where students, their role in the class or their goal in the class is to build that business.
Right.
And then the fall semester is actually for them to showcase their business and actually start selling. So there is a little bit experiential classroom involved with the class and the fall expo tied together.
Okay.
And the spring expo is really open to the whole university. Any students in FSU can showcase and sell. I know during the expo, students are tabled up and they have sometimes their mentors or their professors there helping them out. They sell anything, from cosmetics to nutrition drinks, to window washing services, to models. They create models, car models and things. So they do anything. And we also encourage the whole campus to engage with the students to either purchase from them or maybe give them some feedback. And in order to engage the campus community or people who happen to be on campus, we usually have an ice cream truck out there. If people go through the different student tables and get to talk to them, we give them a voucher in exchange for a free ice cream. I know the year before we spent $800 on ice cream.
On ice cream, okay.
And last year we spent $1,000 on ice cream.
All right. Well, I'm going to do a special request. I want some sugar-free Greek yogurt and some fresh blueberries, so I can partake as well. So there's a special request. So
you got it for helping all the students. But I mean, it has been growing. You can see how many people are interested in our student businesses. Just
that's great.
On the ice cream expense, that has been increasing. But also, I think that's just a great way for students to get out there and get the real experience.
Who provides? Is that Lofty Pursuits that does the ice cream? Who provides the ice cream? Do you know?
I love Lofty Pursuits. I think it's Mama's shop or something.
Okay.
They have an ice cream truck, but they came here. They come here every year.
All right, great. Well, yeah, I absolutely love the expo, and you're right. It's more like a fair kind of atmosphere. They got the big tents out there, and there's so much energy. And I know our students from Panama City Beach campus always come up for it, which is always fun for me because they're online in my classes, so I get to actually meet them in person, and they always say, "Oh, you're a lot taller than I thought you were," which I always think is funny, like a funny thing to say, but that's usually the first thing that they say. I'm like, I must look short on Zoom or something, but yeah, no, it's great, and Brian Baber brings them up and does a great job with that as well. Yeah. So let me shift the conversation a little bit. And let's talk a little bit about just the entrepreneurial mindset and the type of mindset that you've seen successful students or startup groups have. When you think about it, like what kind of mindset is an indicator that this group is going to be successful?
I've been only here for 2 years. I've seen students being successful in competitions. There's not many years of tracking to see how successful they will end up being.
Right.
But I feel like the students who tend to show success or success signals early on, whether it's winning competitions or actually being able to put their business together or get some good market validation, one thing I do notice that what they have in common is just that resilience.
Okay.
And also being able to take feedbacks.
Okay.
Because there are so many ups and downs.
Yeah.
You can win some competitions. You may not get the grant funding. You may not get certain things that you want, even opportunities with us. And I see some students just keep coming back, even though they may not win this time. They may not be successful in pitching this time. They may not get the grant the first time. They keep coming back and they ask for feedback and they implement those. They show us that they are coachable and they are responsive to the feedback and they learn from these experiences. So I think that's the kind of mindset you want to be as an entrepreneur. There are definitely ups and downs.
Yeah.
Failing or quote to quote failing is kind of just part of the process. You just learn from that. If you cannot rebound or not rebound fast enough or kind of just give up, then there's not a good story to tell. So yeah, I think resilience and being coachable, seeking feedback constantly.
Yeah, I have a mantra that I do in my classes: feedback is your friend. and we talk about that. And one thing that I've seen that culturally that I think is difficult for most students culturally is not only receiving feedback, but giving feedback. Because they don't like to receive feedback and perceive it as negative, that they don't want to give somebody feedback. And in my classes, after every presentation, we do 3 alphas and 3 deltas. 3 alphas is what went well, what should you keep, and then 3 deltas, if you were going to give this presentation again, what could make it even better? So that's how we frame it in my classes. And it's like, hey, feedback is your friend, because I think we all want to do a good job, right?
Yeah.
And we do something because we think that's the right way to do it. And if somebody doesn't care enough to say, hey, have you thought about doing it a different way? We won't get better. And I think we really, I think about it a lot because I think we understand that in sports. That feedback in sports, like an athlete will get feedback from a coach and he expects that, or she expects that because she wants to get better. But it's somewhere along the line when we move into the classroom, it seems like we lose that. And that's been something for the past probably like 5 or 6 years that, I talk about feedback being your friend and how giving feedback is showing caring. That when you give somebody feedback, that you're actually showing them that you want them to be more successful. And I think reframing it that way has been really, really helpful. Say like, look, I want you to do better. And I tell my students too, it's like not all feedback's equal. And one thing that I noticed when I first implemented this was that students would be very defensive. They would try, like somebody would give them a delta, what could be better, and they felt like they had to defend it. And so I put in a rule or not a rule, but a suggestion. I said, you don't have to defend it. This is one person's opinion. And this person's opinion, you can just say, thank you for your feedback and leave it at that. And
That's great.
It's been interesting to see the evolution of that, not only in students, but I find myself when I get feedback and I think it's not good feedback or whatever, I'll just look at the person, well, thank you very much for your feedback. And I move on. And I think it's a much healthier way. And I think that I've, at least in my classes, have seen better outcomes because of those feedbacks. And I've seen definitely students be able to give better feedback. And when they're giving their feedback, they're almost teaching themselves as well, right? That we're training each other to look for excellence and how to achieve that excellence. And hey, you know what? That image was a little bit blurry. and you could have done better there, or definitely, like a misspelled word on a deck or something like that, which is, in my mind, is unforgivable in this day and age. There's a big red line under it. It means something, be curious enough why, and change it. So I think feedback is just incredibly important. And I think as a younger person, it was very difficult for me to take feedback, and me reframing it as feedback is my friend has been, I think, really good just for me as a person in my own personal growth. And I think it's been really positive in the students and their personal growth as well.
Absolutely. I learned one new technique, the alphas and the deltas.
I'm
going to implement that for my mentorship too.
Yeah. No, it's worked really, really well. And definitely the way I framed it, it's been an evolution, but where it is now is the alphas are what went great. Like what stood out. And then the deltas, it's really important. It's like, if you were going to give this presentation again, because you're going to give a presentation again, right? So if you were going to give this presentation or again, how could it be better? What would you change about it? And I see it like week 1 or 2 presentations are, let's say, at a beginner level. And by the end of the 16 weeks, because there's presentations every single class in my classes, somebody's presenting and they get their 3 alphas and their 3 deltas. By the end of the semester, the presentations have just skyrocketed. And I believe, like I truly believe in my heart, there's 2 things that are going to be the markers of how successful you're going to be in life. One is, how well can you present an idea to a fellow human being? And then the second one is who is in your network? Like who do you know? Who have you built a relationship with? And I believe if you can communicate an idea to a person or a group of people in a compelling way, and you're doing it to people who can help you, and you never know, like who can help you, who can, that those are 2 of the biggest indicators of success, at least in what I've seen. Like 2 people that have nailed that usually are very successful people.
Yeah, I would very much agree with that. I think that's why we have all these pitch competitions.
Yeah.
We give them every opportunity to pitch. It kind of helps them. And also when you say things, your idea become clearer. It's not in your own mind anymore.
Right.
It's coming out, so it can be different. And we reward that. We have the prize money to encourage them. And I think we're going to do a pitching badge starting next semester, so that they are not only pitching, but they can actually build that badge, that they can put on their LinkedIn profile, that they can take pride over as well.
Nice. No, I really like that. And I just think it's so important. And one of the biggest gifts I believe that I can give my students, or we can give our students, is that opportunity to become expert pitchers, and sometimes pitch is, I think, used too much in a sense that it's like, oh, I'm just pitching something. But what you're doing is you're communicating your idea in a meaningful and understandable and compelling way to someone else. And we use pitch for short for that. But it really is an extremely important skill. And it's a skill that AI is not going to take.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Which is good news.
Yeah. So it's one that I think is resilient to technology, and there's always going to be a place for someone who can communicate an idea in a compelling and understandable way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a life skill too. That's not just entrepreneurship. Like every day you are trying to convince people with things, whether it's maybe your family members, it's people you are working together. So anything, you are trying to convey an idea and communicate yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what else you got for us? What did I miss? I know I missed some stuff. Anything else that you do that you think students should know about?
I think, we are constantly like rolling out new programs. For example, we have something new that just came out called InNOLEvation Marketplace.
Okay.
So
is it InNOLEvation Marketplace?
InNOLEvation.
No,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, our InNOLEvation for the nose. So instead of Expo, which is only twice a year, and we are restrained by time, energy, it has to be physical. So we build this marketplace where any students with any business or any services, they can list their website or their Instagram account on there. It will be a Florida State University website. So it gives them credibility. And we want to help promote their business to other people. People can click on their link and they can purchase from them. We want the community and also the alumni to consider buying from students. So that it's called InNOLEvation Marketplace. We take no money off of that whatsoever. And students can just fill something. They just fill out the form on StartupTree, and they can list their business on there. So that's something I want them to know. But we always have so many going on. I would love for students to be on StartupTree. And also my office is in the Shaw building. In the back, I also have a coffee machine. We recently added a coffee machine.
Oh, wow.
It's for, the students can have a coffee or have a tea. We have free printing in the back. So I always love to see them back in my office. They can always come to talk to me or one of my student engagement interns. Both interns are also students working on their businesses, and they can talk about, all the resources and opportunities that we have. And also from their student lens, what's the best thing like students should tap into. So we are a resource for the students if they ever want to come to see us or email us or just stay updated on StartupTree. That will be great.
That's fantastic. Well, May, it's been incredible what you've done in 2 years. Obviously, we're all busy, and I knew, from peripheral that you were doing stuff, but I didn't know all the stuff that you're doing. And I know you were having a huge impact because students talk about you all the time.
Same to you.
Oh, well, probably they're referring about me in a different way, but
a very positive way.
Okay, well, thank you. But I do want to talk about iGEM. That's something I think it's the first project that we're both working on together, which I think is really exciting. I'm getting to know you better and getting to work with you firsthand, which has been great. Can you tell us a little bit? I've been involved with iGEM for a few years, kind of as a mentor and coming in, but now I'm more officially part of the team this year. And you've been part of the team for a while, I think. So with Caesar and David and everything. And I think it's one of the really cool things that we're doing here at FSU. Could you tell us a little bit about iGEM and what kind of students are involved and what they're trying to accomplish and what we as entrepreneurial staff and faculty are doing there? Yeah, just tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to know iGEM actually through one of the teams, aspirants. They have had a lot of success. They took away home the gold medal for iGEM, which is a competition, international competition, and it's short for International Genetically Engineered Machine. I think they started in MIT about over 10 years ago.
Okay.
So the reason I got to know them is really through this team of aspirants. They competed for Innovation Challenge. And they placed, and I think I was dispersing $4,000 of prize money to them.
Okay.
That's how I learned about them. And when they talked to me about their business, I remember telling my colleague, I'm like, these guys are genius. They're so talented. I'm very, very impressed by all this
Zach and Ava are amazing.
They are. So that's how I actually got to know them and their team. But I started to have a lot of interactions with them. For example, they applied to the grant funding. And they also apply to our incubator program where students can join the incubator and we kind of help them along their entrepreneurship journey. And Zachary has been since then meeting with me on a regular basis, maybe once a month to see, any advice or get to understand the structure a little bit, maybe understanding what resources we have to support them. Another thing we have actually is called travel funding. We do support FSU students to go to conferences or on competitions, and we fund them for their travel if it's entrepreneurship related. So that's another thing. So I think somehow in the interaction, they get to tap into our resources and tap into the mentor network that we have built. I got to know Zachary very well. He's one of the students who take great feedback, very, very coachable. So, but maybe backtrack a little bit, the iGEM has been there for over 10 years, and Dr. Cesar Rodriguez, he is with the School of the College of Medicine, And he was very involved with iGEM early on when they first started in MIT. I think he was at Stanford at the time, and he can probably tell his story much better. But I learned that he was very involved early on as a judge and understanding iGEM as both a competition in synthetic biology, but also as a competition that want to create more entrepreneurship and commercialization opportunities in this field. And he has been very successful. He and David, who leads the undergraduate research, both of them worked closely together. They make a wonderful, outstanding team. And they have had lots of success helping FSU teams and sending FSU teams to this competition for the past maybe almost 10 years. And for the past 2 years, we had 2 gold medalists at this competition in Paris. So they have been very, very successful. Yeah. I was really honored when they asked me to join them because they probably kind of like us. Sometimes it's such a huge university. We don't know who. We know each other, but we don't know what each of us are doing.
Right.
And then students creates that bridge for us. I learned great things from the students about you, and you probably heard something about me from the students.
I hear it all the time about how great you are.
Thank you. And that's how I learned. I learned more about the iGEM structure through the iGEM student teams. And then maybe the teams kind of talk to Caesar and talk to David about my role in the college and the kind of resources our college could actually bring to the iGEM team. That's when they reach out to me, and I went to a few of their meetings. They meet in the InNOLEvation Hub every Friday. So I went to join some of their meetings and kind of learn the process. They bring in a new team every year, and they work on defining a topic together, and they work on that throughout the course of a year. In the fall, they go to compete on stage in Paris, which is really a wonderful process. So I feel really honored, and I'm so glad that you joined that process because of your connection and your history with iGEM, and also your expertise working with the students. And I feel like we have built such a great team working together. And I know we have that weekly conversation, which I enjoy so much. We talk about how we can support these iGEM teams, especially, after the competition. What do you do afterwards?
Right.
When they are building a registered venture, when they are incorporating, when they are taking that lab result to the next step.
Yeah.
How can we work together as a whole? And there are many different moving pieces. There are patents involved. There's office commercialization involved. Many different things, and how can we make that as smooth and streamlined as possible so that students can focus on working on their business? And I have to share a little bit of context because I think this commercialization from student venture to a student project to a student venture is still relevantly new. So for example, Zachary and his team has to really explore and pioneer. They had a lot of conversations with different departments within the university. So I know one of the goals that we have, and that's part of our conversation is how can we make that more automated? Students have a clear roadmap when they had discoveries in the lab and something that's valuable and commercializable. So we want to build a concrete pathway for them to build their venture, have some clarity. This is the steps you can accomplish, going forward. These are the funding sources you can potentially tap into. Yeah. These are the mentors you can go to, and these are the FSU arms that you should talk with in order to bring your venture further, things like that. So I very much enjoy this process.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic program, and I'm happy to be officially part of the team now. And one thing about Aspirants, and you may not know this, but they were on this podcast, and by far they're the number one podcast we've ever done.
Bless
Excuse me. In fact, they represent about 10% of all views.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, their episode is just massive. So the problem that they're trying to solve is really near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. It's a terrible genetic disease. I always mess up the letters TMAU. Is that correct? And
got it.
Did I get it? Okay. Yeah. I have to say it incorrectly, then I'll get it correct on it. But it's a very hard problem for Oh my gosh, excuse
Bless
me.
you.
A couple of sneezes here live and on, real person here with sneezing. So, yeah, absolutely. iGEM is great. And I'm excited to be there and bring the Oxford systems thinking to the team as well. And as we kind of explore how the human practices elements going to work with that. So it's been great working with the three of you. I feel honored to be in the room with all three of you. You all are very smart and passionate people. So May, I like to end every podcast, ask the guest every guest the same question. I'm going to ask you the same question I ask everybody else. So you've been here about 2 years. If you could go back before your first day here at FSU in the Jim Moran College, and you could tell yourself one thing, what would you tell yourself?
I think, just one thing? Can I tell myself two things?
You can tell you can say as many things to you as you want. So.
I wish I have a time machine. I think first of all, I would tell myself, you're going to do great. Like, don't be so nervous.
Okay.
Because my background is in entrepreneurship. I started my business. I scaled it. I also developed the business internationally, but I had not really worked in higher education. I was joking with some other people, like playing the sports yourself versus coaching it are two very different things.
Very different.
As much as my experience in the entrepreneurship field, I wasn't really sure, can I actually make it helpful to other people? Can I really help the students? So I was actually very nervous when I first started. I wasn't sure I was doing the right things, what to do. One thing about our college is very entrepreneurial. So many things are trial and error. Right. So, and I was given the liberty to design a lot of the things and try out a lot of different approaches. For example, the newsletter approach. I started adding people to a newsletter where I broadcast opportunities. But I wasn't sure what I was doing. Was I doing right or was I doing wrong? So I think if I could go back in time, I would encourage myself and I would tell myself, hey, you would do great. Like, don't be so nervous. So that's one thing I think I would say to myself. And I think the second thing I would say to myself is kind of similar to what we talk about the feedback. And I would say, like, especially when I was younger, I was also usually taking feedback as a criticism, not until I have worked all these years. And then I think, interacting with students, I see how resilient they can be and how well they take feedback and how well they screen through feedback. They take on some, they didn't take on some, but many of them always just has so much grace when you give them feedback. So I learned from that myself in my work to be to actually more proactively seeking feedback. I think I kind of get through from kind of negatively reacting to feedback when I was younger to becoming much better in feedback and taking those in to now I feel like I just need to actually go out of my way to seek feedback so that I can be the best I can be in helping people. So if I could go back in time, I would just tell myself, please seek feedback, anything after events, after a meeting, after a competition, seek feedback and see how I can improve on those. So yeah, just those two things.
That's a great word. And that's one thing that I'm really trying to work on is putting into my discipline is asking people like, how do you think I could have done that better? How could this have been more impactful and things like that? And actually going and seeking feedback. I am kind of in the same place where I'm trying to make that as a pattern in my life. Well, May, thank you so much for coming in and spending a little time with us and talking about all the really cool things that you're doing and the impact that you're having. And this is from the heart. In 2 years, you've gone from like somebody I didn't know to like someone that has made a huge impact in students' lives and made the college better and by extension made the university better. You are doing a fantastic job, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Thank you so much, Mark. I look forward to working with you and also working with all the students in our college. It's my honor.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the InNOLEvation Mindset podcast powered by the Jim Moran College of Entrepreneurship. Hey, if you like this episode, be sure to give us a like and be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss another amazing episode. We'll catch you next time.